G'day everyone, welcome to Inside Rugby with Mark. That's me, Mark, and I'm a Kiwi rugby fan living here in beautiful Cancun, Mexico. Despite the rain today, I'm out in my park talking to you about the game that's going to take place at MURRAYFIELD on Saturday between Scotland, the home team, and the New Zealand All Blacks. And if you didn't know, Scott Robertson, the All Black coach, he's got cousins and heritage and ancestors and everything in Perthshire up there in Scotland. So there you go, connecting with his roots, I'm sure, on this tour. But he's got more important things to worry about, and that's going to be MURRAYFIELD. It's going to be 23 Scottish players and Gregor Townsends sitting up in the coach's box. What's going to happen? Who are the teams? Let's get into it. I'll talk about it right now. Now, just a quick one before I get into the video. 6 weeks ago, I launched the United Rugby Fans global not-for-profit organisation. This is for you. It's for all of the 500 million rugby fans around the world. I want you to have a greater say in the game of rugby. I want us to have a seat at the decision-making table with World Rugby and all the unions across the world. So that's why we've started United Rugby Fans. And this week, I announced for the next year, we're going to launch the United Rugby Fans Global Rugby Awards. Yes, we're going to have our own rugby award show on a global level. You're going to be the ones that are running it. You're going to give us the nominees. You're going to give us the winners across all the different categories. This is no longer going to be a black tie affair run by World Rugby. We're taking control back of the game, and we're going to let you manage who wins those particular awards. So watch out for more information coming on the United Rugby Fans Global Rugby Awards, happening for the first time in 2026. It's going to become an annual event. We already have a venue for next year's event. We've got sponsors and partners that are coming on board. It's going to be hugely exciting, and we want you to cast your vote on who you think are going to be the best players, coaches, teams, and all the rest of it in the different categories that we have. Now let's get on with today's video. Okay, so moving on from the Irish game, some of you think it was a fantastic performance by the All Blacks. Some of you were critical of their first 60 minutes, and others of you will never be happy. So let's move on and talk about this game. So who the All Blacks picked for this game? Well, in the front row, we're going to see Ethan de Groot, Cody Taylor, and Fletcher Newell. Yeah. So no changes there. That's what we probably expected from Razor. And then moving on to the locks, of course, Scott Barrett is injured and won't be available for this game, so that means some changes. And we're going to see Josh Lord and Fabian Holland doing 4 and 5 this weekend from the All Blacks. I thought Josh Lord played a better game last weekend for the All Blacks, one of the better ones I've seen him play. So let's hope he steps up again this weekend. Now, the back three, what are we going to see in the forwards from the All Blacks? Well, there has been a change here. We're going to see Wallace Satiti starting at number 6, so no Simon Parker this weekend. We're going to see Ardie Savea at 7. And at number 8, we're going to see Peter Lakai back again. So obviously he did enough, in Razor's opinion, to get the nod in the number 8 jersey again. So what do I think of this forward pack? I like it on paper, but as I've been saying for a few weeks now, what the All Blacks are putting out on paper versus what they're putting out on the pitch seems to be two different things. So I want to see how they go on the field before I make any further analysis of it. And then moving on to the back line for the All Blacks, well, no surprises here really. In the 9 and 10 jersey, it's Cam Roigard and Beauden Barrett. They're going to be starting again for the All Blacks. And then in the midfield, Jordie Barrett's not going to be participating in this tour anymore because of that injury he picked up against Ireland. And some of you, like myself, have said, is this the opportunity? Is this the opportunity to play around with the midfield for the All Blacks to really see what they can do? And it is the opportunity. So we're going to see Quinn Tupaea at 12, and we're going to see Lester Fainganuku at 13, and I'm totally fine with this. I want to see how these guys go and to give them that opportunity. So one player's bad luck in Jordie Barrett may turn out to be a turning point for this New Zealand All Black team. Let's wait and see what happens this weekend. And then on the wings, we're going to see Caleb Clark, and we're going to see Leroy Carter for the All Blacks with Will Jordan at fullback. What do I think of this backline? I like it. I like it a lot. I still haven't gone away from my issue at number 10 for the All Blacks. We're not building any depth there, and that's not going to improve on this tour, so I might as well stop talking about it. But we're going to see Roigard and Barrett. Let's see whether Barrett can use Quinn Tupaea and Lester Fainganuku like we saw in the last 15 minutes of that game against Ireland last weekend. This will be a real test for this All Black midfield to see whether they can deliver some consistency, and that's what a lot of us have been talking about, hasn't it? Lack of consistency from that midfield, producing week in, week out. Okay, then let's have a look at the bench for the All Blacks. And coming off the bench, well, it's pretty good. It's Takiaho Williams, who came on last week, and I thought he made a really big difference when he came on to Mighty Williams last week. And then we're going to see Tossie as the last one in the front row. So I think this is a good replacement front row for the All Blacks. Of course, Takiaho's been playing well. He's been scoring tries this year for the All Blacks when he's been coming on. To Mighty Williams has upped his game. I saw that improvement last weekend, and Tossie brings that extra power as well. So I think this is a good replacement front row for the All Blacks. And then moving on, we're going to see Sam Darry. Yes, a lot of us have been calling out for Sam Darry. Well, he's going to be showing his head. And again, because of Scott Barrett's injury, which is very unfortunate for him, this is giving other guys an opportunity. And that's what we've been crying out for, haven't we? But unfortunately, it's only coming about because of injuries, but at least he's in the team. And we're going to see Sam Darry, and we're going to see Duplessis Karefi as the other forward replacement for the All Blacks. And then the backs for the All Blacks in terms of replacements, we're going to see Cortez Ratama, we're going to see Billy Proctor, and we're going to see Damien McKenzie, of course. So let's see the impact of those guys. Billy Proctor back in the fray this weekend. That's going to be interesting to watch. Some of you have been saying it's time up on Billy Proctor. Others are saying give him another chance. Well, again, because of this reshuffle in the All Blacks backline, because of Geordie Barrett, Billy Proctor's been given his opportunity this weekend. So let's see how he goes coming in off the bench. What do I think of this All Blacks team? I like it. I think it's pretty good. Simon Parker not in this. Wallace Satiti starting at 6. That's the only one that I've got a question mark over. But for the rest of it, considering who Razor is picking from his squad, I think this is good. Now, I think we've all come to the realization that Ruben Love has gone on tour to carry the bags and tackle bags and carry the water bottles and everything else, because it just seems as though we're not going to see him get a play. And I just don't understand the logic around Ruben Love and how we're not trying to develop that guy for this All Blacks, particularly when we've got a lack of depth in certain key positions in that back line. But okay, so that's the All Black team. I like it. Let's see how they deliver on the pitch. And let's move on to Scotland and see who they're picking, because there's been a lot of talk around that this Scottish team could be the one that finally beats the All Blacks. Well, let's see what Gregor Townsend's done. And in the forwards, we're going to see Schumann, Ashman and Ray. Are they up for it against this All Black front row? I think the All Black front row's got an advantage, and I think that's where we're going to see some real energy come from the All Blacks and get some domination up front. And then in the locks, we're going to see two really good locks for Scotland. We're going to see Scott Cummings and Grant Kilchrist. And these guys have been around for a while. They're playing good rugby at the moment. But Josh Lord and Fabian Holland, I think, are going to have the wood on these two guys. But I think it is going to be competitive in the line-out. So keep a lookout for that. So then the back three for the forwards for Scotland, we're going to see Brown, Fagerson, Matt Fagerson, and we're going to see Dempsey, Jack Dempsey at number 8. Dempsey's been playing fantastic rugby, and so has Fagerson, actually. So this breakdown battle is going to be an absolute war this weekend. Can Satiti, Savia, and Peter Larkai get it over top of these guys? Well, watch out for Jack Dempsey, because he could be one of the ones that spoils the New Zealand breakdown party this weekend. Now, will the Scottish backline be able to score enough points to outplay the All Blacks? That's going to be one of the big questions. And I often say to myself that any team that's going to beat the All Blacks, they need to score more than 25 or 30 points. So when I read out the names of these players in the Scottish backline, just think to yourself, can these guys score that many points against the All Blacks? Well, let's have a look at who they've got first of all. So let's look at the backline for the Scottish team, and starting off at halfback, we're going to see White. He's a good player, of course. Watch for his box kicking. That's going to be important in this game. How much pressure can they put under the All Blacks under with the high ball? If it's going to be wet at Murrayfield, there's a high chance of that possibility. It could cause some problems. And then outside him, it's Finn Russell, of course, the maestro for the Scottish team, the playmaker, the absolute experienced genius that can get the Scottish team going. But when you keep Finn Russell quiet, then the Scottish team also tends to slow down a little bit and seems to be a little bit clueless. So is that going to be one of the All Blacks' main strategies this weekend, to keep Finn Russell quiet? Let's see how that plays out. And then in the midfield, we're going to see Simone Tuipulotu, and we're going to see Hutchison. And this is an interesting midfield for me, but I think Quinn Tupaia and Lester Fainganuku can have it over these guys. I like Tuipulotu a lot. He can break a defensive line. He can score tries as well for the Scottish team. But I think the All Blacks are going to have too much class in the midfield from Tupaia and Fainganuku from what we saw last weekend, in my opinion, if they can play at that level again. And then moving on to the wings for the Scottish, and there's no Duhan van der Merwe this weekend. No, we're going to see Kyle Steyn, and we're going to see Darcy Graham for the Scottish, and we're going to see Blair Kinghorn at fullback. So I think the Scottish backline is good, but I don't think they're up to the level that the New Zealand backline can be if they play to their potential. And that's what we've been saying for a while now in terms of consistency around this All Black performance for not just 10 or 15 minutes of the game. Let's see how they go, because Darcy Graham, of course, is extremely dangerous, as is Kyle Steyn, and Blair Kinghorn. He's a big guy at fullback, so if the All Blacks do go to the high ball, watch out for Kinghorn being able to take control of that and also bring it back with some interest. That could be a very interesting interplay in this particular game. Okay, time to have a look at the Scottish bench, and we're going to see the front row of Turner, Sutherland and Mills come on for them. And then we're going to see Sykes and Darge as the other forward replacements. And then in the backs, we're going to see Bayliss, Dobie and Jordan. So that's going to be the Scottish replacements coming off the bench. So I do think the All Blacks have got the edge here with the talent that they've got on the field. For me at the moment, this All Blacks team comes down to, are they being able to put it together with a set of consistency at the high level? If they're able to do that against the Scottish team, then I think the All Blacks can actually thump the Scottish team, and I'm predicting that they can do that if they get off to a good start. So if the All Blacks start like they ended last week against Ireland, put 2 or 3 quick tries on the Scottish team, then I think it could be a long day in the office for the Scottish team. Now, I know a lot of people have been saying this All Black team has not been playing great rugby, and I've been one of those people. And for all the naysayers out there that are always saying that we're whinging and complaining, no, it's not about that. It's about being constructive about the feedback and what we're talking about as a rugby fan with an opinion. It's about talking about, if you want to be the best rugby team in the world, if you want to actually win the Rugby World Cup on a consistent basis, then you need to have a lot of depth in your team. You need to have world-class players in their positions. And if you go and watch my video today about South Africa and France, I talk about how South Africa have got a number of world-class players across their backline that can change a game. I don't believe the All Blacks have that at the moment. They're not showing that ability on a regular basis, and until they do that, I don't think that pinnacle, that top of the world for the All Blacks is possible until they have those kinds of players playing like that week in, week out. That's my criticism of this All Black team. And the depth issue, we're not seeing those replacements coming in for the number 10 position in particular, where we've got a big problem with depth for the New Zealand All Blacks at the moment. But on this particular game, I think the All Blacks can actually thump the Scottish team if they get off to a good start, because that's going to give them a lot of motivation on how they start this game. If they get into a bit of a battle, or if Scotland even gets the lead and they get the crowd into it, then it could be a long day at the office for both teams. But I think the All Blacks will still come out on the top in this particular game, and I think Scotland will have to have an exceptional day to get over top of the All Blacks. I'm interested in reading what you're thinking and what opinions you have about certain players and how the team plays and all the rest of it. So let me know what you think is going to happen in this game. Do you think the All Blacks are going to be able to use some kind of domination up front to be able to set the platform for these backs to go? Do you think Cam Roygaard's going to stand out in this game? Do you think Beauden Barrett's going to get Quinn Tupaia and Lester Fainga'anuku away in this game and put some pressure on the Scottish defensive line? Or do you think Finn Russell's going to have one of those days where everything just turns to magic and he's able to turn it on for the Scottish team to have an historic win against the All Blacks? I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions. Okay, so how do I think this is going to play out? Well, first of all, I think the All Blacks are going to get some ascendancy up front in the forwards. I think they're going to get a bit of quality ball, and I think the likes of Roygaard and Beauden Barrett are going to run the show from there. And hopefully we're going to see Quinn Tupaia and Lester Fainga'anuku really set this backline on fire for the All Blacks. And don't forget, Will Jordan hasn't been scoring a lot of tries lately, so maybe it's time for him to get on the scoreboard. How about I say that? Will Jordan scores the first try in this game in the weekend. And I think that's how it's going to go for the All Blacks. I think Roygaard's also going to use his kicking. We're going to see some box kicks to try and put the Scottish team under a lot of pressure. The All Blacks are going to want to get territory and possession to see whether they can get that fast moving ball. I think they're going to play the game at pace to try and tire out the Scottish team, run them around the park all day, and as a result of that, there will be gaps that open up in their defence, and the All Black backline is going to try and take advantage of that and score a lot of tries. If the All Blacks put on 2, 3, maybe 4 tries in the first half, it's going to be all over for Scotland. I think they're going to have too much firepower. The Scottish team's best chance in this game is staying close with the All Blacks in the first 20 minutes, getting the crowd into the game, letting Finn Russell run the game, and see whether or not they can have an opportunity to put the likes of Darcy Graham and Kyle Steyn away on some good breaks to score some tries. But I don't think that the Scottish team can score the 25 or 30 points against the All Blacks that they need to beat this All Black team. Therefore, I'm going with a comfortable win to the New Zealand All Blacks against Scotland at Murrayfield on Saturday. So let me know in the comments what you think. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do that right now. And don't forget to give this video a bit of a thumbs up and a like as well. I'd be truly grateful for that. And I'll see you again soon in another preview video. Until then, it's adios from me in beautiful Cancun. Bye for now.